What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Dylan Matthews back at it again with the Hometown Take podcast. Happy Monday to you all. I hope you all are doing well. Hope you all had a great weekend, but we are back at it this week and we have a lot to discuss. We're going to get into the Russ and CP3 trade, of course. Haven't talked to you all since that has happened. We're going to get into duos. The NBA has a lot of duos right now. I'm going to give my top 10 rank of NBA duos right now in the association, and I'm going to tell you where I think Trae Young and John Collins rank among that list as well. Going to also give you realistic expectations for our Atlanta Hawks and Atlanta Falcons in their upcoming seasons. As we know, training camp getting underway soon in the NFL. Going to talk some Braves, going to talk some United, how their seasons are starting to go in a little bit opposite directions, and it's not really good for Atlanta United. But the Braves did have a hot start back from the All-Star break. We'll get into that a little bit more as well and what they need to do to keep it up down the stretch. But first things first, we're going to start with the breaking news that just happened just moments ago. Grady Jarrett signs a 4-year, $68 million deal with our Atlanta Falcons. But first things first, we're going to start with the news that broke today. Grady Jarrett reaching an agreement with our Atlanta Falcons to stay in Atlanta. 4 years, $68 million. He will remain an Atlanta Falcon for the foreseeable future. Now, getting closer to the deadline today. The deadline was today at 6 p.m., I believe. There was some doubt to whether or not the deal was going to get done, but ultimately it got done, and it was because, Grady has just performed. He has performed and he has done everything he has needed to do. He has been very valuable to this team. He had 3 sacks and the Super Bowl. And over his career, he's just performed. Listen to these career stats. 179 total tackles, 95 solo tackles, 84 assisted, 14 sacks. Last season had 53 total pressures, a team high 6 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, team high 16 quarterback hits, and also a team high 8 tackles for loss. First of all, the fact that he's team high in sacks with only 6, which is fine for a defensive tackle. He's a defensive tackle. He's not really supposed to get you sacks that often. So 6 is a good number for Grady, but that just shows that our edge rushers, they got to do better, but we already knew that. That's a different discussion for a different day, but a discussion that's probably coming up soon. Regardless, also a team high with 16 quarterback hits and a team high in 8 tackles for loss. Now, tackles for loss isn't so bad, but it's still pretty bad, and it says a lot about our edge rushers, and it says how much work we need to be done on the pass rush. We need a lot of work, but that's been an underlying thing for a while now for our Falcons. Football season about to start, so you might as well get ready for these discussions. But this is about Grady. I'm happy for Grady. You have to remember, 2015, he was a 5th-round pick 137 overall, and he has not only lived up to expectations, but exceeded expectations. So congratulations to Grady Jarrett. Well deserved. I'm happy Grady's a Falcon. He's very, 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 very important to the success of this team. So now with Grady Jarrett getting his deal done, Arthur Blank has come out and said that now the focus is on the Joneses. Julio, Dion. Julio obviously was pretty much promised a new deal. They're going to work on that. They're going to work on getting his deal done, and they're going to also work on getting Deion Jones a new deal as he is in the final year of his rookie contract this season, I believe. So, like I said, Grady, congratulations, man. I'm happy for him. He deserves it, and I'm happy that he's going to be an Atlanta Falcon for the foreseeable future. Now all he has to do is perform. He's got to live up to it, but with his track record, I have no doubts in my mind whatsoever that Grady Jarrett is going to live up to this contract. It's just a matter of time, and it's just a matter of how much he's going to improve, which I think he still definitely will improve. I think he definitely will get better. He's only 26. He's in the prime of his career. We still will see a lot more great things come from Grady Jarrett. Now, moving on to the NBA, another blockbuster deal. If you haven't heard by now, you're definitely living under a rock, or you just, I don't know, maybe you haven't been watching TV. I don't know. But who am I to judge? Either way it goes, Russell Westbrook, CP3, basically swapping teams. Russell Westbrook traded to the Houston Rockets for Chris Paul and a lot of draft picks. But we knew this was coming. We just didn't know what team Russell Westbrook would go to. Obviously, Oklahoma City is blowing it up. They traded away Paul George. They traded away Jeremiah Grant. And now they have traded away Russell Westbrook. So basically all they have left is Steven Adams. And he might be gone sooner than later too. Maybe the trade deadline when a team needs a big man. Steven Adams, a definitely formidable big man, a good big man, can score some points, get some rebounds, good off the pick and roll. He might be gone too. But this is about Russell Westbrook going to the Houston Rockets and reuniting with his old running mate, James Harden. As you know, Russell Westbrook and James Harden were teammates back in the day in OKC when it was Durant, Harden, Westbrook, even Serge Ibaka. They had a nice little big four, nice core nucleus after OKC had drafted so well, made it to the finals in 2012 against the LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh-led Miami Heat. Obviously, they lost in 5, but that was the peak of the Harden, Westbrook, and Durant era. After that season, Harden was then traded to the Houston Rockets, and now we've almost come full circle, and Westbrook is now a Rocket as well. Everybody has been talking about the fit. Is it going to work between Westbrook and Harden? Now, I'm not going to lie. My knee-jerk reaction to this was, oh my goodness, no. Why would Houston make this move? 2 ball-dominant guards? How is it going to work when they're both going to game? We're just going to be dribble, maybe pass, dribble, maybe pass, dribble, shoot. I just really wasn't understanding how it was going to work. But after hearing more takes on it, after hearing some of my colleagues' opinions on it, I actually don't think it will be that bad. I actually think it could work. It definitely could work. Here's how. Russell Westbrook has an element to his game right now that CP3 just didn't have anymore. CP3, floor general, great point guard, great facilitator, can score, he can still get you a bucket, but think about the way that he was scoring these past couple years in Houston. It was really maybe a transition 3. It was a nice little, crossover, stop, pull up, mid-range jump shot. CP3 wasn't really getting to the basket anymore. He wasn't really a slasher like he was in his Clipper days. He wasn't really a slasher like he was in his New Orleans days. CP3 was starting to just become more of a shooter, like just a little bit of a dribble guy, a little somewhat of an ISO guy, pick and roll, but usually was going to pass it off. The point is, he really wasn't a professional at getting to the basket anymore. He just didn't have the athleticism to get to the basket anymore. Russell Westbrook, he can get to the basket at will. He has that athleticism to get to the rim and finish, and teams have to respect that, and they will respect that because they already have seen it for years on end. So what does this mean for Houston? Houston has an array of three-point shooters. They got Eric Gordon. They got PJ Tucker. They have Gerald Green. So now they have Iman Shumpert, another 3-and-D guy. So they'll have all these players on the perimeter spacing out, giving Russell Westbrook room. James Harden will give him a little room as well. Russell Westbrook will be able to drive to the basket, and either the defense is going to collapse on him, Someone's going to help out, and that means there's going to be an open man that can run the pick and roll with Clint Capella, and they can throw it up to him. Russell Westbrook, already we have seen, great decision maker, at least when it comes to the pick and roll. I'll get into the decision making down the stretch in just a second here, but as far as the pick and roll goes, great decision maker. You don't average a triple-double without being able to find an open man. We know Russell Westbrook can do that. So either the defense is going to collapse on him, he's going to kick it out for a possibly wide open three, which we know PJ Tucker can make a corner three, or really just an open three in general. Eric Gordon is a three-point specialist. Iman Shumpert can knock down threes. Gerald Green can knock down threes. So with all this three-point shooting they have around him, obviously James Harden, we know what he can do. That can go unsaid. So with him crashing to the basket, that will leave them a lot of three-point opportunities. We know how much Mike D'Antoni loves to run the pick and roll, and we know how much Mike D'Antoni loves to get his threes off. So there's an opportunity for that. Also, James Harden, same thing. He can create his own shot, get to the rim, kick it out like he's been doing, throw it up to Clint Capella like he's been doing. So basically, you just have an athletic guard now who can get to the rim, keep the defense honest, make the defense collapse, and open up the floor. They will be able to space out the floor beautifully if they run this, how they have the opportunity to run this. So there's potential there for Houston. They have a good lineup. It just depends on, you got two alphas. Russell Westbrook has been an alpha, but we've seen he can kind of give up that alpha spot. He deferred to Paul George last season some. But the concern is, will the chemistry work? Which it probably will. Russell Westbrook has always been perceived as a nice guy off the court. We just got to see how it relates on the court and see if there are any conflicts on the court. So that is the biggest question. The fit, will it work? The ball, who's going to be dribbling, who's going to take it up the court? That probably isn't going to be that huge of a deal. Who's going to take the last shot? That's probably going to be James Harden. I think Russell Westbrook will understand that. So I think this could actually work for the Rockets. I really think it will. I really think Houston can make this work. It's just, going down the stretch of games are they going to be able to defer? Are they going to have a good enough system in place to where there's no confusion on who's going to be doing the majority of the ball handling, how the system is going to be run? And really, this is a big year for Mike D'Antoni. Mike D'Antoni has the opportunity to coach these guys up and make it work. And if he can make it work, they can win a championship this year. We know how wide open the NBA as a whole right now is. Golden State is not the same. Klay Thompson is going to be gone for a majority of the year. Yes, they're going to have D'Angelo Russell, but it's wide open. The NBA is wide open right now. And like I said, we're going to get into our best duos here in a little bit. Russell Westbrook and James Harden will be on that list. We're going to find out where they're ranked, but they will be on that list. So, Mike D'Antoni, this is on you, man. You got to make it work. Russell Westbrook and James Harden, hopefully they'll do what they have to do too. But if you can coach this up right, you got something special on your hands, sir, and you don't need it to go to waste, or it might not be good for you, man. But really interesting there. Also, CP3 is not going to play a game in OKC. That's basically, as soon as I heard the trade and him going to OKC, I'm like, he's not going to stay there. He's probably not going to wear an OKC jersey. So it's just going to depend on what team will want to take his salary, because Chris Paul is an older player, like I was saying. He definitely wants to go to a contender. So we'll see where it goes. I heard Miami has been in the front runs. Him and Jimmy Butler could definitely put in some work, I believe. But the team is going to need to be able to absorb that contract, $134 million contract. So we'll see, man. Hopefully Chris Paul will get shipped out. There's no hopefully to it. He will get shipped out. Just a matter of where and just a matter of time for Chris Paul. But Houston, you got something good on your hands. You just got to make it work. It'll take some work to make it work, but you can make it work. Bottom line. Moving on, let's go ahead and jump to our Atlanta Braves. Our Atlanta Braves coming back from the All-Star break hot as they finished off the sweep of the San Diego Padres last night. They swept the Padres with a 5-3 victory on Friday, a pretty thrilling 7-5 victory on Saturday that went 10 innings. Nick Markakis made a spectacular catch in the bottom of the ninth inning. There were runners on first and second, and there was a deep fly ball hit the Cakes, and Cakes made the catch at the wall to keep the score at 7-5. That made it 2 outs, and they sealed the victory from there. And yesterday, they got a 4-1 victory over the Padres. Mike Soroka got his 10th win on the year. He goes to 10-1. So the Braves still cooking right now as they are still in first place in the NL East at 57-37 with a 7-game lead over the Washington Nationals as it stands now. But the Braves do have a good series starting tonight against the Milwaukee Brewers. Last time the Braves saw the Brewers, they took the series. They got 2 games out of 3. They won the first game back May 17th, 12-8. Saturday, they won that second game with the final score of 4-3. That game went 10 innings, and they lost the Sunday game 3-2 in a final of 10 innings. So be ready for another great series because these are 2 pretty good teams. Actually, 2 really good teams. Christian Yelich, 32 home runs, MVP candidate for the Milwaukee Brewers. Obviously, he won the MVP last year, so he's looking to repeat. You know, he would probably be a runaway if Cody Bellinger wasn't doing what he was doing right now. So, gonna be a good series. We gotta be able to keep that guy Christian Yelich under wraps. Really, their whole offense. We gotta try and keep the water down. So it's gonna be huge for our pitching to come up big. Hopefully our starters are good. We got Max Fried on the mound tonight. Bryce Wilson will be on the mound for us tomorrow. And to close out the series, Dallas Keuchel, who's been on a tear lately, will finish out the series for a day game on Wednesday. First pitch at 2:10 on Wednesday, July 17th. So big series coming up for the Braves just to kind of, measure themselves where they're at. Yes, they're 57-37. Yes, they have won 9 out of their last 10 series. And the only reason they haven't won 10 out of their last 10 series is because they split with the Chicago Cubs. So yes, they're on a tear right now, but we want to keep seeing that consistency. So good series, good measuring stick for the Atlanta Braves as they are playing out of their division against another playoff team, as the Brewers only 2.5 games behind the Chicago Cubs in the NL Central, as the Brewers are sitting at 48-46, while the Cubs are sitting at 50-43. So the Brewers 2.5 games back of the Chicago Cubs. So yes, the record says that we should be able to handle and at least get 2 out of 3 from the Milwaukee Brewers, but the NL Central is a great division. Probably the closest, bar none, the closest division race that there is in the whole major leagues. Chicago at 50-43, Milwaukee at 48-46, St. Louis 46-45, Pittsburgh 44-48, and Cincinnati 42-48. So they have the closest race right now in the NL Central. They just been beating up on each other. Milwaukee only 2.5 games back out of first. St. Louis is only 3 games back. Pittsburgh only 5.5 games back. And Cincinnati in last place, only 6.5 games back. If you look at the NL East in the Braves situation, the second place team, the Washington Nationals, are 7 games back from us. So it's still a close race, close race in the NL Central. So we don't need to take these guys for granted. We need to go in there, keep on playing good baseball. Hopefully our offense stays hot as they have. But with the consistency our offense have shown, I believe they will. Hopefully our pitching comes through. Max Fried has been struggling just a little bit. I really can't even say struggling, actually. He's cooled off. He started off so well in the first half of the season, first part of the season, and right before the All-Star break, he cooled off just a little bit. So hopefully Fried can pitch a gem like we know he's capable of tonight, and the Braves can stay in the win column as they are on a 4-game winning streak. But man, I'm loving Braves baseball right now. I am loving it. Loving it, loving it. Like I said, when you win 9 out of your last 10 series, you're doing something right. When you're getting at least 2 out of 3 out of your last 10 series, you're doing something right. 9 out of your last 10 since we did split. Well, we got 2 out of 4. But you get what I'm saying. The Braves are heading the right direction, and I'm just really hoping they're not peaking too soon. They've shown great consistency, and I hope they just keep it up, and I hope this isn't our peak right now. So we got important baseball down the stretch. It's after the All-Star break, post-All-Star break, so we are now officially in the hunt, the race for October. Just to update you on the standings in the NL East, I didn't mention that the Washington Nationals are 7 games back, but you realize I did say the Washington Nationals, right, and not the Philadelphia Phillies, who are now in 3rd place right behind the Washington Nationals. Phillies 8.5 games back of the Braves. They stand at 48 and 45 right about now. They start a series against the Dodgers tonight. That game will be on ESPN on ESPN. The Mets right now 42 and 51, and the Marlins are the Marlins. If you really want to know, they're 34 and 57, and they are irrelevant right now. No shade, just truth. But it will be a good race down the stretch. Some important games coming up in the second half for the Atlanta Braves. So the Braves have a 3-game series starting tonight, as I mentioned, against the Milwaukee Brewers. That's going to be in Milwaukee. First pitch tonight, 8:10 p.m. Max Fried going to be on the mound. Then we have a 4-game series against the Washington Nationals at SunTrust Park. Julio Teheran is going to start that series off Thursday, July 18th against Steven Strasburg. Then we are home for 2 more against the Kansas City Royals. Then we go on the road to Philadelphia for a 3-game series. Then another 3-game series against the Washington Nationals. So a lot of important games coming up for the Braves in a nice little stretch here. Again, that's 3 at Milwaukee, 4 against Washington, 2 against Kansas City, 3 against Philly, and 3 against Washington. So another important stretch coming up for the Braves. You see how they handled that last important stretch. They won every series except one, and we would like to see that same thing now for our Bravos. Moving on to another Atlanta team in Atlanta United. They have not been so hot like the Atlanta Braves have been. They dropped another game yesterday as they lost 2-1 against the Seattle Sounders in full time. And Atlanta United is now 4th in the East as they are 9-3-8. So Atlanta United just have not been able to finish matches. They conceded the first goal against Seattle yesterday. Joseph Martinez was able to get the equalizer, but then later in the match, in the 71st minute, however, Harry Shipp got the go-ahead goal for Seattle, and Atlanta just could not bounce back. And really the story for Atlanta United has been we get a goal to either take the lead or equalize it. We saw it against the crazy match in New York against the Red Bulls. You know, you get that go-ahead goal, then you give up a goal right afterwards. And that was what happened here. Joseph Martinez gets the equalizer in the 65th minute. You're feeling good. You have momentum. But then 6 minutes later, you give up the go-ahead goal to Harry Shipp, and the Seattle Sounders take the lead and never give it back. You have to be able to finish matches if you're Atlanta United, and that's what we've been struggling with here over these past couple matches. So Atlanta United has to figure out a way to finish. We have to figure out something. If we want to repeat as champions, we got to figure it out. It's as simple as that. Come on, Atlanta United. You're our team right now. You're the championship team. You're the standard. You're the gold standard. You got the last ship. We want to see more from you. One isn't good enough. You gave us a taste. That was just an appetizer. We want the entree now, fam. Come on, Atlanta United. And now the way this MLS playoff format has been changed, it's one and done. There's no legs anymore. Goal differential, all that doesn't matter. You either win and you keep going, or you lose and you're going home. So Atlanta United is going to have to figure out some way to finish matches, because the way they've been finishing matches now, they're looking at a quick exit in the MLS playoffs. So Atlanta United, figure it out. And that's all I got to say about them. They're a championship team. They've got to get it done. Now, let's get into some realistic expectations for our Atlanta Hawks and Atlanta Falcons. And I'm going to start with the Atlanta Hawks just because their season is a little bit further away. Now, Summer League just ended. Well, the championship game is tonight. The Grizzlies and the Timberwolves, if you're wondering. Summer League, let's just throw that out, Hawks fans. Let's just throw it out. Not really much to look at. If you want to know how our rookies did in Summer League, Cam Reddish didn't play. DeAndre Hunter, our first overall pick. He wasn't the number 1 overall pick, but he was our first pick overall, number 4. He played one game. Not much to that. If you want to know how he did in that one game, he had 6 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block. Okay. That's not saying much at all. We know Trae Young didn't do fantabulous in the Summer League, and you see how he finished out, Rookie of the Year finalist. So really not much to pay attention to Summer League anyway. I wouldn't give that much thought to Summer League. Bruno Fernando did play in 3 games, though, our second round pick. He played in 3 games. He averaged 4.3 points per game, 3.7 rebounds. Again, I wouldn't think too much of these stats, but there is one stat I do want you to pay attention to that Bruno Fernando accomplished in his 3 games in Summer League. 3.3 blocks per game. Now, that's interesting. That's worth talking about. 3.3 blocks per game. Now, what do the Hawks have right about now? We have a point guard who can share the ball, shoot the 3. Dynamic, can get to the rim. Check. We have a big man who is athletic, can also shoot a little bit, can create a shot for himself. Check. We now have some wing players who can create their own shot, shoot the 3, spread the floor, can play defense. DeAndre Hunter, Cam Reddish, check. If you didn't know what I was talking about before, the big man, John Collins, obviously, check. What are we missing? Let's see. We got wing players, dynamic point guard, dynamic big man, 20 and 10 guy. What else do we need? Oh, a rim protector. Well, look at there. And what did Bruno Fernando do in Summer League? Averaged 3 blocks per game. He sounds like he could be a rim protector. Golly, ain't that something? Look, it's encouraging stat for Fernando and the Hawks. If he can do this in the regular season, that's going to be big. You know, obviously we want him to pull down more boards. The points, I'm sure, will be there. He'll need time to develop anyway. He's not going to be looked at to score either. But if he can do that, the 3.3 blocks per game, if that can translate to the regular season, whoo-wee, that's going to be something. That's going to be special. That is what we need. A rim protector. A big man who can be like, no, not today. You know, we had Dikembe Mutombo. Now, he doesn't need to be the next Dikembe Mutombo, but if we have a solid rim protector, we're looking at a complete squad, folks. We're looking at a complete squad. That's all I'm saying. So that is an encouraging stat in Summer League that you can pay some attention to, and that we should be hopeful for translate to the regular season. Now, as far as expectations for the regular season goes, we have the potential to make the playoffs. We can do that. That's our ceiling. Our ceiling is making the playoffs between the 6 and 8 seed. I don't think we'll get to 5. I think the East is a little too deep now to get to 5. Obviously, the Nets are going to be somewhere in that picture. Milwaukee's going to be somewhere in that picture. Do not sleep on Indiana. They're going to be in there. And we have, obviously, the Philadelphia 76ers are going to be in there. The Boston Celtics, that's 5 teams right there who are most definitely better than the Atlanta Hawks right now. That's just fact. Those 5 teams are already better. Now, you look at a team like Miami Heat, who have Jimmy Butler. They could be a contender, and they just might be better than the Hawks, especially if they get Chris Paul. That's another team that's just going to be better than the Atlanta Hawks, and that's probably just fact. Unless the Hawks just blow the water out of the expectations that they have right now, and they're like the Braves last season. But I don't expect that from the Hawks. We're talking realistic expectations here. So the Heat will probably be somewhere on that 6 seed cusp. Now you're looking at the Atlanta Hawks. Now you're looking at a team like the Orlando Magic, maybe the Toronto Raptors. I don't know how they're going to finish filling out their roster, but we'll see. They'll probably be in there some way, somehow. The Hawks have the potential, though, to make the playoffs. But are those realistic expectations for them? Like I said, that's their ceiling. They can do that, but I wouldn't expect it. Realistic expectations for the Atlanta Hawks are winning between 30 and 35 games. 40 games is great, because if you get to 40 games, you're getting close to a playoff. You're getting close to that 8 seed. So I'm saying 30 to 35 games. If the Hawks win 35 games this year, that is great. That is a successful season this season. If they win 35 games, you get your young guys some experience. If Cam Reddish, DeAndre Hunter, and Bruno Fernando show promise and you win 35 games, if Trae Young and John Collins show improvement and they start to become leaders and you win 35 games, you had a great season. So, Hawks fans, what I am telling you right now, do not panic if the Hawks do not make the playoffs. It is okay. I promise it is okay. They do not have to make the playoffs this season. Now, next season, you want to see them at least get that 8 seed. But let our young rookies who are going to get a lot of minutes, and DeAndre Hunter and Cam Reddish, possibly Bruno Fernando as well, let them get some experience. Let them get their feet wet in the league, because summer league is way different than the regular season. Let them get their feet wet. Let them get their experience, and we'll see what happens. But 35 games is a success for the Atlanta Hawks this season. Point blank, period. That's what Hawks fans should expect from the Hawks this season. Floor, 30 to 35 games. If you do that, the Hawks did what they needed to do. And they probably made the improvements that they needed to, showed the promise that they needed to. So floor, 30 to 35 games. Ceiling, playoffs. But realistic expectations, somewhere between 30 and 35 games. Now, the Atlanta Falcons, and I decided to talk about them last in this because their season is coming up very soon. August 1st, Hall of Fame game against the Denver Broncos. That's when the preseason starts for our Falcons. Training camp about to start very, very soon. So, realistic expectations for the Falcons. It's playoffs or bust. And really, I guess I'll keep it playoffs just because how deep not only the NFC is, but how deep the NFC South is. Because you do have, obviously, the Saints. I mean, no matter how much I dislike them, I do respect them. And they do have a great team. Hall of Fame quarterback in Drew Brees. Great running back in Alvin Kamara. They did lose Marvin Ingram, but they still have Michael Thomas. They still have that up-and-coming defense. So the Saints are going to be right there. If you ask anybody, probably they're the favorites in the NFC South. The Panthers, they're a question, but they can be a threat because if Cam Newton is healthy, watch out. And that defensive front that they have, oh my goodness gracious. They have our former Falcon, Dontari Poe. Obviously, the Panthers got a big pickup in this past free agency, getting Gerald McCoy. They have a complete roster, though. They drafted Elijah Holyfield. That could be a great 1-2 punch between Christian McCaffrey and Elijah Holyfield. They got our former friend from the Falcons and former Falcon last year, Bruce Irvin. Shaq Thompson at the linebacker spot. Obviously, they got Kawan Short. They have a mean defensive front, people. I mean, Kawan Short, Gerald McCoy. They got Dontari Poe. I mean, it's just mean, people. It's just crazy. And if Cam Newton is healthy, they got a complete roster. DJ Moore improved for sure. We'll see what he can do in his second year. Luke Kuechly. I mean, they're pretty stacked. They added Chris Hogan. So they got a pretty good squad. They have a pretty deep squad. As much as I hate to admit it, they got a pretty deep squad. Byron Cox. I mean, Vernon Butler. The list goes on that defensive front. Shaq Thompson in the linebacker core too. Shaq Thompson, Luke Kuechly, linebacking core. Then you got like Dontari Poe, Gerald McCoy, Vernon Butler, Byron Cox. I mean, they have a rotation when it comes to that defensive front, and they got some great linebackers. So if the quarterback and Cam Newton can stay healthy and he can do Cam Newton things, the Panthers are going to be a problem. I mean, that's just what it is. However, the Falcons, our offense is dynamic. We can score with the best of them. We have, I don't care what people say, we have the best wide receiver in the league in Julio Jones, period. We got the best wide receiver in the league. We got Mohamed Sanu, great complimentary piece. Probably one of the best 1-2 punches in the NFL, arguably. We got Calvin Ridley, who's a monster. He's a beast in the making. Devontae Freeman. If Devontae Freeman stays healthy, he's going to be a problem. Matt Ryan, we know he's an MVP caliber player, had MVP numbers last season. If we just would have had a better season and our defense would have stayed healthy, he would have been in the discussion for MVP because we would have had a better record and we would have been in the playoffs. I just believe that wholeheartedly. And if our defense can stay healthy, we got Grady Jarrett locked up. Julio is going to be a problem, obviously, Julio Jones. But our defense is going to be a problem. Grady Jarrett, Deion Jones, Keanu Neal is going to come back. We're going to have Ricardo Allen back. So if our defense can stay healthy, our defense is going to be a problem too. Our defense can be a top 5 defense. As long as we get our pass rush right, if Vic Beasley can show out because he's playing for a contract, whether it's for Atlanta or another team, he's in a contract year. He's got his contract year with us. So he's going to ball out because he wants to get paid. He's motivated. It don't matter if he's going to be re-signed with the Falcons or not. He's going to be motivated, period. So hopefully Vic Beasley can show out. Hopefully we just have a better pass rush this year. But we've been hoping for that for a couple of seasons, and it hasn't really translated. But we did get Adrian Claiborne back after he took a year with the New England Patriots and got a ring. We did get him back, so hopefully he will improve our pass rush. Obviously, he had that game 2 seasons ago where he had the 6-sack game against Dallas. So hopefully he will improve our pass rush. But the Falcons, it is playoff or bust. There are 2 wild card spots. You can definitely get one of them. So it's playoff or bust. But our hope is to win a division too. We can compete in the division. Like I said, Matt Ryan, great quarterback, elite quarterback. I don't care what anybody says. Look at the numbers he put up last season. He carried the team with no defense, basically. And he still put up MVP type numbers. The 2016 season and his 2018 season last year, basically the same. The only difference was the record, so he didn't get the recognition. So if he can put up those numbers again, if Devontae Freeman can give us something at the running back spot along with the judge, Ito Smith, who had a solid season last year, showed promise, showed he could score close to the red zone. He is a red zone threat for real. Big body, Devontae Freeman, also a red zone threat, of course, and he can burst one at any time. So if we keep the running back position healthy, if everybody stays healthy, health is the biggest thing for the Atlanta Falcons this year. If we stay healthy and we get a pass rush, those are 2 biggest questions. Health and what is our pass rush going to do? If we get a pass rush and if we stay healthy, you see what we can do. We can go to the Super Bowl and be in a position to win a championship. We are a championship team if we have a solid pass rush like we did in 2016 and if we stay healthy. Mind you, in 2016, our offensive line stayed together the whole season, played all 16 games together. We stayed healthy for the most part. I mean, we had a few rinky-dink injuries there. Devontae Freeman stayed healthy. Tevin Coleman stayed healthy. Matt Ryan obviously stayed healthy. Our defense was young, but guess what? They learned on the fly. They did what they needed to, and we had a historical offense. So if we stay healthy and our offensive line performs and is better than what they were last year, if our rookies do what they need to do and our free agent signings do what they need to do, our 2 guards that we got in free agency, if our line comes together, offensive and defensive, they come together, our offense stays healthy, especially Devontae Freeman, and our defense stays healthy, the back end of our defense stays healthy, really the whole defense, we are a championship team, period. That's all there is to it. So, realistic expectations for the Falcons, a wild card spot. That is more than realistic. Realistic could even be the division, but I realize our division is deep. So, realistic expectation for the Falcons, a wild card spot. Playoffs or bust for the Falcons. That's just what it is. Our window isn't going to be open too much longer. We need to take advantage, at least the way we're going right now. Our time is now. Our time is now. That's it. Playoffs or bust for the Falcons. So for the Hawks, 30 to 35 games, floor, ceiling, playoffs. Falcons, playoffs or bust, ceiling, obviously championship. And that's just what it is. Finally, let's talk about the duos in the NBA. It pretty much seems like, we have a couple of big threes left in the league. You can't deny the big three in Oakland still, even though one piece out of that big three is going to be gone majority of the year. Obviously, Steph, Clay, and Draymond. That's still a big three. And then you do still have a big three in Philly. Don't forget about Embiid, Simmons, and you have to respect Tobias Harris enough to put him in that big three. But other than that, really no other big threes in the league. So we're going to talk about duos because there are a lot of duos in the NBA right now. And so I'm going to give you my top 10 list of duos. And I have 2 lists. I have a list of how I rank the duos right now. Like right now, today, how I list them. And that list is going to surprise you because a lot of these duos have not played together yet, and you don't know what they're going to be. You don't know if they're going to work out. You don't know what's going to happen. So, with that fact, some duos that you think should be high are not going to be high. They're going to be a little bit lower. And the duos I put ahead of them, you're not going to agree with, but I have to see it first. That's just me. I got to see it first. But with that being said, I do have a duo list on how the duos could potentially be ranked if they go how most people think they're going to go. So let's start with the now list first. So there's my now list and there's my potential duo list. So here's the now list. So this is how I rank the notable duos in the NBA now. Number 10, Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis. Haven't seen it yet. Porzingis coming off an injury. Don't know what's going to be. They're still young. They both still need time to develop, especially Luka. Porzingis has shown to be a force in this league, but how is he going to be coming back from that injury? With all that being said, they're number 10. They both have the potential to light it up and be great, but they're number 10 right now, plus a lot more talent in front of them. Number 9, Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, the Joker. Jamal Murray balled out in these playoffs, and so did Nikola Jokic. They are both still young, which is good for them. They could be higher, 3 to 4 years from now, maybe 2 to 3 years from now. They could be higher. They gave Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum, who are on this list, a run for their money in the Western Conference semifinals. But again, there's still more talent ahead of them, and they still got some work to do. But they show promise. Watch out for the Denver Nuggets this year, too. They're going to be contenders. They're going to be right there. But at number 9, Jamal Murray, 3-point specialist, can create his own shot, has showed that clutch gene, along with Nikola Jokic, big man, can pass it. One of the great big man passers we have in the league right now, can fill it up, can average a triple-double as a big man, a force down there in the paint. They're number 9. Number 8, Russell Westbrook and James Harden. Yes, they are this low because we haven't seen it yet. As far as the top duos go, like Russ and James Harden, KD, Kyrie, Kawhi Leonard and PG-13, and AD and LeBron, they have the biggest question. They have the biggest question about how are they going to fit. So with that being said, like I said earlier in the episode, Russell Westbrook can be that penetration slasher guy who can kick it out and hit somebody with an open 3. James Harden can be the closer. He can get his own shot whenever too. Russell Westbrook can get his own shot whenever too. They both can run the pick and roll. It can work, but I got to see it first. So with not seeing it yet and still with some questions out there, they're number 8. Number 7. This is going to get you guys. KD and Kyrie, number 7. Why? We don't know what KD is going to do. We don't know what KD is going to be coming back from that injury. He is probably going to be fine. Even if he's 80% of himself, they are still going to be great. They are still going to make a run in Brooklyn, especially with the talent they have around them. But haven't seen it yet. Haven't seen the fit yet. They should be fine chemistry-wise, but I haven't seen it yet. So those questions are still there. With that being said, they're number 7. Number 6, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Haven't seen it yet. That's the running theme. Kawhi Leonard, we know what he is. He's a monster. He's an animal. He's a boss. He got Paul George to the Clippers. He's going to contend right there with LeBron. But haven't seen it yet. Is Paul George going to be able to be clutch? Is he going to be able to defer to Kawhi, which I think he will? But how is it going to work lineup-wise? I mean, we don't know really quite yet how that fit is going to be, but I'm pretty sure it'll be good. That's why they're a little up higher on the list. So Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, 2 great scorers, 2 great defenders, but I just need to see it. So right now, they're number 6. Number 5, Giannis Antetokounmpo and Chris Middleton. Giannis is a force on the inside, can get to his spot anytime he wants, unless you double team him. They showed it in the playoffs. Toronto did. You double team him, you take that low post away from him, you make him shoot, it's a problem. He needs to develop a jump shot. Giannis develops a jump shot, they're way higher on this list. Also, Chris Middleton, an all-star, yes, but he's not the hardest second punch. Like, it's a great 1 punch. That 2 punch is a little bit weaker. No disrespect to Chris Middleton. Like I said, he's a baller. He can ball. He's no scrub. He's an all-star. But he's on the, I can't say he's a star yet, though. He might be on the cusp. He can prove that this season. We'll see. But not convinced he's a star yet. For that reason, they're number 5. Number 4, Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, 2 stars. They are stars. Not just all-stars, they are stars, which is why they're ahead of Giannis Antetokounmpo and Chris Middleton. But they do have questions. Can Joel Embiid stay healthy for a full 82-game season? He did a pretty good job of that this year. Ben Simmons, we know he can get to the basket. We know he can find people. We know he has that vision. He has that passing. Can he shoot? Is he going to shoot? Ever? Is he ever going to develop a jump shot? It's like Giannis. We need you to shoot, bro. You got to be able to shoot too. You got to keep that defense honest. We know you can get to the paint. And you did great just getting to the paint. You made it by, but a team is going to figure you out. Just like just like Toronto got past you. When KD comes back, Brooklyn will get past you. Milwaukee could get past you probably. But if Ben Simmons has that jump shot, because right now Joel Embiid, your center, is shooting better than you, bro. You need that dynamic to your game. When you get older, that shot is going to be the last thing to leave you. But right now, you don't have a shot. So, with that, you're number 4 on the list. Number 3, Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum made it to the Western Conference Finals. They had a great team. Oh, and mind you, they're going to have Nurkic coming back too. You could argue that's a big three because Nurkic was balling before he got hurt. Damian Lillard, clutch. We know about the shot over Paul George. That's it. CJ McCollum, he has a clutch gene too, can knock down big shots. They're both cold-blooded, a great 1-2 punch in the backcourt, and we've seen it. We've seen it work. They were in the Western Conference Finals. Now, down the stretch, in those Western Conference Finals games, Damian Lillard wasn't as clutch. So that's why they're at number 3 behind Klay and Steph, who are at number 2. Klay and Steph, they've done it. They've won a championship together. Before Kevin Durant, along with Draymond Green, we've seen it. 2 of the best shooters of all time, period. We've seen it work together. They know how to play together. They know how to play off of each other. That's why they're at number 2. Now, my only contingency to not having it seen it yet at number 1, AD and LeBron. Just because right now, you have 2 of the top 5 players on the same team. LeBron James, he'll figure it out. Anthony Davis, an unselfish player, has had to carry the load in New Orleans the whole time he was in New Orleans. He's ready to be with the winner. They've always talked about wanting to play together. They're excited about playing together. They'll make it work. They're number 1. So, to recap, number 1, AD and LeBron. This is the now list. How I feel about it now. The top 10 duos in the NBA. Number 1, AD and LeBron. Number 2, Klay and Steph. Number 3, Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum. Number 4, Embiid and Simmons. Number 5, Giannis and Chris Middleton. Number 6, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Number 7, KD and Kyrie. Number 8, Russell Westbrook and James Harden. Number 9, Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. Number 10, Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis. Now, here is the potential rank for the top 10 duos in the NBA. The potential. If it goes how everybody thinks and how I think it's going to work out, this is the potential list. Number 10, close to the same. The first 2 are actually the same. Luka Doncic and Porzingis. Like I said, Luka and Porzingis could be great, and maybe in the future, maybe like 5 years from now, they'll be higher. Just because LeBron will be gone, KD will be older, Kawhi and Paul George will be older, Klay and Steph will be older, Steph might be gone, Russ and James Harden might be gone. We'll see. Just because age and players retiring, you don't know with injuries, they could just be higher. We'll see. Same thing with Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. They could be higher. Just because they're young, they're talented, they could be higher. But right now, just because the talent that's in front of them, Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic at 9, Luka and Porzingis at 10 still. Now, at number 8, we're starting to shake it up. Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum. No disrespect, but if it works out how we think it's going to work out, the talent in front of them is just too much. Number 7, Giannis and Chris Middleton. Now, Giannis and Chris Middleton could be higher, but like I said, that's a weaker second punch that you have in Chris Middleton. Not a star, and there are too many stars in front of them. Too many duos who both of them are stars. Chris Middleton just not a star. All-star, not a star. Not a superstar. Giannis, you're a superstar, but you don't have a jump shot. So are you really you're a superstar, but you're a superstar without a jump shot. So you develop that jump shot, they'll be higher. So they're at number 7. Number 6, Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. Again, Embiid, can you stay healthy? Ben Simmons, where's your jump shot at, bro? You're like Giannis, you're great, but you can be stopped. So that's why they're at number 6. Number 5, Russell Westbrook and James Harden. Russ can get to the basket, / James Harden, get to the basket, / Russell Westbrook, slash in, kick it out, like I've said before. It can work, but too much talent in front of them, I feel like. So they're number 5. Number 4, Klay and Steph. They're great, but they can be beaten now. KD is gone, and a lot of talent is around Kawhi and Paul George. A lot of talent is around KD and Kyrie. A lot of talent is around AD and LeBron. So I think Clay and Steph are just beatable now. They do have Draymond, yes, but I think there are other teams that could definitely knock off the Warriors. So they're number 4. Number 3, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Kawhi Leonard made his argument to be the best player in the NBA this season, but we know KD's hurt. LeBron, he's going to be back. He has a great team around him. He has his ideal team around him. Another superstar with shooting. So, again, haven't seen it yet. They have the potential to definitely compete, and they have some good pieces around there too. Patrick Beverly. They have some great teams. Ivan Zubic. They have some good pieces, but we got to see it. So they're at number 3. Number 2, KD and Kyrie. They could be special with Chris LeVert, Jarrett Allen, Spencer Dinwiddie. Some good pieces around them, but we got to wait on it for a year. And we don't know how I know KD probably is going to be okay, but we just don't know yet. And I got to see it first. But if I think it's going to go how it's going to go, they'll be number 2 behind Anthony Davis and LeBron James. Anthony Davis is a monster. He can shoot the ball with some consistency. He got a nice handle. Used to be a point guard before he had a crazy growth spurt. And he's just a monster. Can catch lobs, get you rebounds. He's going to hustle for you. Going to give it his all in LA because he's ready to win. And LeBron James is the best player in the NBA right now. And he's going to prove that this season. He didn't make the playoffs. He didn't have the greatest team around him. He has the team that he wants now for the most part. He's got some shooting. He's got some defense. So now it's time for AD and LeBron to show out, and I think they will. And I think they're going to be the best duo in the NBA right now. And that's my list, guys. I think that's how it's going to go. So to recap this episode, there was a lot happening in this episode, a lot I wanted to talk to you guys about, a lot that I wanted to give you my take on. So Grady Jarrett for our Atlanta Falcons. He's going to stay in Atlanta Falcon, which is great. Signed a 4-year, $68 million deal today. Russ, CP3, the trade, another blockbuster deal. Russ and James Harden. Like I said, you have the potential to make it work. You have the potential to win a title this year. Mike D'Antoni, are you going to figure it out? Are you going to coach him up? They're going to need some coaching. Russell Westbrook and James Harden. Do you want this to work? Are you going to make it work? Because you can. There's an alley for it. You just have to do it. Realistic expectations for the Hawks and the Falcons. Hawks, like I said, floor, 30 to 35 games. You do that. DeAndre Hunter, Cam Reddish, Bruno Fernando show promise. And Trae Young, John Collins show improvement, even more improvement upon their last 2 seasons, especially Trae Young. Hopefully he doesn't hit a sophomore slump. John Collins, want to see him 20 and 10 consistently. You get that out of the Hawks along with 35 wins, you're looking good. Their ceiling, playoffs. Playoffs would be great to get these young guys the experience. They'll just move along the pace faster. Realistic expectations for the Falcons. Wild card spot. You at least got to make the playoffs. You need to stay healthy, obviously. Health is a huge thing. Like I said earlier, it's one of our 2 biggest questions. Are we going to be healthy? And are we going to have a pass rush? 2 biggest questions. If we can do that, and 3, I'll throw in the offensive line too. Offensive and defensive lines need to be better, much better, and we need to stay healthy. If that happens, we're at least a playoff team. Ceiling, championship team. But we at least have to make the playoffs. Atlanta United, you got to get it together. You got to find a way to finish matches. You start finishing some matches, you don't leave some points on the board like you did last week against Red Bulls and like how you did yesterday against Seattle. Seattle, you should have at least had the draw. Red Bulls, you should have had the win. Got to find a way to finish matches and not give up late goals. Braves, keep it up, keep it up, keep it up. You came back from the All-Star break strong. starting a series tonight against a good Milwaukee team. We want 2 out of 3. Keep winning these series. Keep up. Hopefully we're not peaking too early. We got a good stretch, an important stretch coming up. Got some games against the Nationals and the Phillies, who are right behind us. Finally, the duos. I gave you the duos. Now, AD and LeBron at number 1, behind Klay and Steph. Potentially, could be AD and LeBron, KD and Kyrie, Kawhi and PG-13. You heard the list. So it's going to be interesting, man. There are a lot of great duos out there, and the NBA is wide open, and I can't wait to watch. Also, watch out for these young Hawks, man. Bruno Fernando could be a rim protector. We gonna see. But please like this video, guys. Please share this video. Tell your friends about the Hometown Take podcast. Please just put the word out there, trying to make this thing big time. And also, please subscribe to my channel. And guys, have a great rest of your Monday. Hope you have a great rest of your evening. I'll talk to you soon. But for now, peace.